Welcome to Far From Eden. Happy Saturday. I want to talk about yesterday's video really quickly. I read the article, I Don't Hate Men, but I'm Still Waiting for One Who Doesn't Suck by Amy Horton. Now, I will fully admit my ignorance. I did not know who Amy Horton was. I don't know why. The name did sound familiar, but you hear a lot of names, so I didn't know. But one of you guys, I wish I could remember which one, pointed out that Better Bachelor has covered Miss Horton and just basically that she's a nightmare. And I did a little search earlier today to find out a little more about the woman. And sure enough, you guys are right. I mean, of course you're right. He did cover her on his channel. And one of the things he said, which I felt so good about. I felt so validated in myself because he said she's the perfect example of why men are walking away and why men want nothing to do with women. And when I was reading the article, that was my exact take. That's why I chose that article. And so I look at Joker, Better Bachelor. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And he's just right on. And so if I ever say anything and then I find out, this is the second time it's happened, and then I find out, oh my gosh, he has said this, or one of you guys pointed out that he was covering the same thing I was covering the same day. It was an article. And I was like, wow, that is so, it means that what I am seeing and what I'm understanding is on track. You know what I mean? Because if it's not, I want to change. I want to be corrected. And I know a lot of you are like, wait a minute, you're a woman. I know it's weird, but I do want to be corrected. I had a dad that had no problem correcting me and, redirecting me. And I think that's part of why I can take redirection. And I want it because I don't want to sit here and be wrong. That's not helpful to you guys, right? So this whole journey for me is about understanding you guys more, understanding what you face. Having said that, you guys know I try to keep up with the emails. I think there are some from back in April that I still need to get back to. If you wrote me back then and you're like, I would like a response, please feel free to email it again. I know that it's not your job. I need to go back and get them all taken care of. But anyway, so having said that, Marky Mark is one of our regulars on the channel. He comments a lot for a while. I've been seeing that name as a viewer on this channel for a while with really insightful comments. And anyway, so Marky Mark sent me a video just, I don't know, a day or two ago. Days, I don't know what time is. And it is a video by the Manosphere. And I've seen a few Manosphere videos, not as many, I'll admit. And this one is about false accusations. I've not seen it, but Marky Mark asked me to do a reaction, so I'm going to. Because, what am I here for if not you guys, right? If my opinion on something is helpful to you in any way, if you're curious what my take on it is or what I might say or a female's perspective, not a normal, you know what I mean? Send me the suggestions and stuff. By the way, I know, I think it was Glenn Crossing sent me a video of that party where it's like a cop cam video. It's a party where the cops get called and the male gets really treated differently than the female. I've seen that video before, and I don't know if I'll show it and react to it. I might show parts of it. It's very long, but I did get it, and I'm considering it. Sometimes when they're a little bit long, I'm not sure. So, but I always take it very seriously when you guys send me a suggestion, an article, a video. It's very helpful. It's very helpful. So we are going to see this video. Woman falsely accuses man of rape. Okay, well, at least they're using that term. So let me share the screen. Oh, by the way, just on a side note, have you guys seen the debate between Chris Cuomo and Dave Smith yet? I'm about halfway through it. It's like so satisfying and like so frustrating at the same time. Not a giant fan of either one of the men, obviously, although I'm going to lean more towards Dave Smith. It's you know, it needed to happen. Yeah, so just thought that would be interesting. There's probably several of you that saw that, thought it was interesting, and I always like to get your guys' comments. I need to start doing some things on locals so I can say things a little more freely. I like for YouTube to push these videos out so you guys can see them. There are so many people that contact me and say, I'm going through a divorce right now. I had no idea how bad it was. They're newbies to this whole thing. They don't quite know what's happening yet. And I know that for a lot of you, there was a time when you were in that place too, before you probably reached out on the internet searching for what the heck is going on. And then you were like, oh, not the only one, you know? So it's, I think about those guys a lot when I make these videos. So let's see what Manosphere has got for us here. And I appreciate Manosphere. I'm sure that most of you are subscribed to that channel. So I don't think I'm taking anything away from him. It's just little old me. So let's go. And hopefully I'm adding to it. You know, I'd hate to just show it. And I'm adding to it. And in my mind, I am. Anyway, God, that was such a woman thing to say, wasn't it? I catch that now and I'm like, oh man, I just thought like a woman. I think this, so therefore it is. They get the I think, therefore I am. A little confused. Okay.
Against a man wrongfully accused after he spent more than a month behind bars. Tonight, a 20-year-old Bucks County woman says she lied about the attack after police said her...
Bucks County. Bucks County, if it's the county I'm thinking of, and I think it is a suburb county of Philadelphia. It is a very wealthy county. Very wealthy. So just giving you a little idea of the type of people. Now, there are towns in Bucks County, I guess, that are kind of close down to where U.S. Steel used to be. And those little towns are a little more blue collar depressed because they were built up, you know, during the time of U.S. Steel and the big booming port there and all the rest of it. And since then, things have changed. But by and large, Bucks County is very ritzy. It's sort of like, think Connecticut type, you know, the suburb of New York when it's like, what is the county? Well, Westport, Connecticut, those areas, you know, that's Fairfield County. Goodness, I thought of it. There's Thomas the train. He likes to say hello. All right, let's just let the train go by. Okay, let's go. Bucks County, PA.
Her story didn't add up.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Today, we need to discuss a serious issue highlighted by a recent case in Middletown Township, Pennsylvania. This case involves a false accusation, attempted rape and attack, which has severe implications for all men. We're going to break down 4 key points and understand the gravity of the situation. Let's talk about it. We men ain't we? We men ain't we?
Well, Rick, this is a story we reported on a month ago. And tonight I spoke with the attorney who represents the man who was accused of attempted rape and kidnapping in this grocery store parking lot. That attorney tells me that that woman's story never added up and that the update in this case is better late than never. 41-year-old Daniel Pearson is home with his family tonight, out of jail after the Bucks County DA says he was wrongly accused of attempted rape and kidnapping. This is the woman who accused him of those crimes, 20-year-old Angela Yurimova. Police in Middletown Township said Yurimova called them on the night of April 16th, claiming a man grabbed her in the parking lot of the Redners off Lincoln Highway and attempted to pull her pants down while he carried and pulled her back toward his truck. Yurimova said she was able to break free and that he drove away. Police used a license plate reader system that spotted a similar truck nearby. They tracked it to Pearson, and he was held at the Bucks County Correctional Facility on $1 million bail. A new complaint now states Daniel Pearson.
On an accusation. With what evidence? An accusation is not evidence. I have been saying this for years. An accusation is not evidence. I can't just sit here and be like, oh, so-and-so did something. I know you're like, yes, you can because you're a woman. I know, but I shouldn't be able to. That's ridiculous. Then it's just like, oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this. Who says? You? And also, let me just point out, I know I've said this in other videos, but I swear there are so many women who are just obsessed with true crime. And this story so far that this chick is telling about, hold the pants down and tried to pull her to the truck and all that, I'm like, that sounds like a Dateline. And I don't think that a lot of those Dateline stories and a lot of this true crime, here's my tinfoil hat, I think a lot of it is baloney. I really do. I think they're made up stories. I think you might as well be watching Law and Order. Furthermore, our brains, when we see things, it doesn't know the difference between if it's real what we're watching or if it's not. I know we know, and we're like, oh, I know what's real and I know it's not. Yeah, but your brain and your eyeballs don't. So when women are watching over and over and over again, like Law and Order SVU stuff, all this true crime stuff, their brains are like, oh, this is who men are. This is what men do. This happens. And they identify with the victim. And there's a sense of romanticizing being a victim. Like, people will feel sorry for me and people will compliment me and say how strong and brave I am just because you're a victim. You know what? Not all victims are strong and brave. I know that sounds mean, not to you guys, but it sounds mean, but it's true. When something happens to you, stuff happens to everybody, different things, right? And the way we decide to take it is up to us. For example, I'll use myself for an example. Multiple sclerosis, right? When that happened to me, I can be a victim of it. And then everyone can be like, oh, wow, you're so strong, and all this. And meanwhile, I could just lay around and never try and never fight and never, push back and kind of just take it easy. And I mean, who could fault you for that? You'd be like, well, you're such a monster, right? And so there's this romanticizing of a victim to where it's like, oh, good, I don't have to do anything and nothing's my fault because I have this thing that's an excuse. It's like insulation. You can never, ever say anything to a victim. You can never criticize a victim. You can never expect anything of a victim. Nothing's ever the victim's fault because victim is innocent. That's not true. That's so oversimplified. But this is the draw that people, mostly women, have to becoming a victim, right? You get everything, and you get no consequences, and you don't have to be accountable. And a lot of it happened with that movie called The Accused with Jodie Foster. And that was what, in the 80s? And the whole point was in that movie is that she was gang raped. And then in court, you know, the defense attorneys for the bad guys, they all attacked, well, what's your dating history and what were you wearing and how are you acting? And the whole propaganda of that movie was, you can't say that. She's a victim. That's why the movie was called The Accused. Because it was like, oh, she had this thing happen to her, and she's the one that seems to be on trial. How dare you ask her what she's wearing? How dare you ask her? And that was kind of the mentality that I know I was raised with. You know, middle school, high school, it was like, never blame the victim, never blame the victim, never blame the victim. I'm sorry. But okay, I would say to a person who said that, if you're a guy, right, and you decide you're just going to walk down a street that you don't know in a bad neighborhood, a violent neighborhood in I almost said South Central, in South Chicago, wherever the bad neighborhood is in Chicago, and you're just going to walk down the street at 2:00 in the morning, you know, and something happens to you, I think we have a right to be like, why were you doing that? If I break into the lion exhibit at the zoo, right, and the lion mauls me, I think we have a right to say, why'd you break into the lion exhibit at the zoo? You know, like, there can be fault with a victim. Is anybody asking for it? No. But I mean, they say that to make it like, well, no, that's not true. Therefore, shut up. So that's my whole spiel about chicks and true crime and romanticizing being the victim, and why they just seem to all put themselves in that position. And they would argue back at me, well, if men didn't act this way, we wouldn't be victims. And it's like, where is the responsibility? Furthermore, this chick is not even a victim. So let's keep going with this poor man's predicament. I wonder what all he lost because of her accusation.
Person was charged with multiple felony offenses and remained incarcerated for a total of 31 days before Yurimova admitted to her lies.
First, let's talk about Daniel Pearson, who spent 31 days in jail based on a false accusation without any concrete proof. He was presumed guilty until proven innocent. This seems to be the status quo for men. Guilty until proven innocent. Johnny Depp? These 31 days are something he can never get back, guys. And the damage to his reputation is irreversible. Imagine the psychological toll and the social stigma he now carries. Due to this false accusation, he could lose his job, struggle to find employment in the future, or be so mentally devastated that he may never, ever function the same again. It's mind-boggling.
He won't function the same again. From what I've learned, no, he's forever changed. He now knows the reality of the world. You guys, most of you guys, unless you're just wondering and you're like, what is this? What are they talking about? Most of you guys had that moment too, where you were like, oh, I see. There's a complete double standard here, and what I say doesn't matter, and what I think doesn't matter. Not just that, what I think is evil, and what I'm doing is evil, and I am evil, and it's absolutely a disenfranchisement of men. The fact that they can lock a man up for 31 days on an accusation and no proof. And what if his wife hadn't believed him? Maybe she didn't. We don't know yet. That's just awful. But, I'm sure they made up for it. I'm sure they, paid him millions of dollars for his inconvenience. Of course that never happens. There's never an apology, ever. You barely hear about, oh, she admitted to her lies. Well, let's see what happened to her for that. Maybe there was some justice. Nobody here is holding their breath.
Boggling how easily someone's life can be destroyed by an accusation.
The complaint states that shortly after his arrest, officials received information from Pearson's family that warranted further investigation. So detectives reviewed surveillance video and found at no point in the video did Pearson's truck travel through any part of the path Yuramova claimed the vehicle took. Yuramova was called to the DA's office for questioning last Thursday, and because of more inconsistencies in her story, she was called back in on Friday. That's when the complaint states Yuramova admitted that she had lied about the entire incident and that no assault occurred. Yuramova said she had seen Pearson and his truck before in the parking lot of her old job and that he was, quote, creepy. All charges against Pearson have been dropped.
Second key point. Pearson was falsely accused because Yuramova thought he looked creepy. And by the way, I don't think she's the one that should be talking about people looking creepy. This reveals a deeper societal issue where looks significantly influence how people perceive others. Men, in particular, often find themselves presumed guilty based solely on their appearance. This is why men don't approach women anymore, because if a woman feels that you are a creep, this is a possibility. The Me Too movement doubled down on the notion that men are creeps, and now women are saying that they would rather be with a bear than with a man.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Bear. Man is scary. With a bear. Depends what man, but probably a bear.
Oh, 100% a bear, which is like terrifying to say, but
Definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there.
a bear.
You gotta be freaking kidding me. A freaking bear. This is how disrespectful society and women in particular are towards men. Where is the public outrage for Pearson? Where is the public outrage for innocent men? Why aren't more people speaking out about this injustice? This case underscores how men have been suffering severe consequences based on superficial judgments. Now, there is some extra information in the article that needs to be highlighted. Janice, read.
As for the injuries she claimed to have suffered, Yuramova allegedly admitted that she suffered a laceration on her lip during an altercation with a family member. Her grandmother, who Yuramova claimed suffered from dementia, did not recognize her as she entered the house and threw a plastic object at her, striking her in the lip. This incident allegedly caused the laceration to her lip that she later blamed on Pearson, the criminal complaint stated. When authorities asked her if she thought about telling the truth, she allegedly told police that she was planning to come forward to reveal the false report some point before court.
Third key point, the fabrication of...
That's a lie. That's a lie. She was not planning to come forward and tell the truth. No, she wasn't. She was not planning on that. That's a lie. 100% a lie. I can't. Do you see her face? I mean, first of all, you guys will say that's probably the 1,000 ding dong stare. And sociopathic, right? Like, just looks like we have no empathy at all. There is something, I think, to the possession, people being possessed by evil spirits. Does that mean they're entirely taken over or partially taken over? I don't know, but I know they talked a lot about it in the Bible. And I mean, are we just supposed to believe that all stopped happening? I'm thinking no. This person, if we actually look with eyes that don't block out what this world tries to teach us, this materialistic world of, well, I can't prove it. Look at her face. Anyway, so she was going to come forward. I was going to tell the truth. Really, lady? Sure you were. Sure you were.
Injuries by Yuramova is terrifying. She lied about being attacked and even injured herself to make her story more believable. This is what Amber Heard did, right? Self-inflicted damage to make her story more credible. This highlights a chilling reality. A woman can falsely claim abuse, and the police will arrest an innocent man without substantial evidence. This isn't an isolated incident. It happens all the time, and women know that they can do this. If there hadn't been evidence proving Pearson's innocence, he could have been wrongly imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah.
This is why she had to admit that she was lying, because her story didn't add up.
Yeah.
And now Yurimova is the one facing charges. She is currently in jail and is due back in court sometime later this month. And according to that criminal complaint we got our hands on earlier today, Yurimova told police that she was going to admit to them at some point that she had lied about this entire situation. At some point, she was going to tell them that before the court proceedings. She also told police that she admitted to her father that she had lied about all of this. We're live in Middletown Township tonight. I'm Caroline Goggin, Channel 6 Action News.
Fourth key point. Let's dive into the charges against Yurimova. She faces multiple counts, including false alarm to an agency of public safety, tampering with physical evidence, false reports, and unsworn falsification to authorities. These charges are severe and rightfully so. Her actions could have devastated Pearson's life completely. False accusations like these not only harm the accused, but also undermine the credibility of real victims. This is why men are opting out, because this is the price an innocent man has to pay for being falsely accused. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. I hope she gets punished for her actions. Given these potential penalties, as you can see on the screen, Yurimova could be facing significant prison time and substantial fines if convicted on all counts. I hope she gets what she deserves. Givers have to learn to set limits because takers have none. This case sends a crucial message to men. Protect yourself at all times. Pearson's ordeal lasted a month, but without the evidence that eventually cleared his name, he could have faced much longer, perhaps even a lifetime in jail. Always be aware of your surroundings and the people you interact with. It's essential to understand that false accusations can happen to anyone, and being prepared is your best defense. Listen to Mary J. Blige.
I would have never let a person have that much power over my money, my life, over anything ever again.
Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.
I will put the link to the video in the description. Well, I wonder if she got punished. I doubt it. I doubt it. These men, because a woman says something, can lose everything. His wife could have believed the woman, the accuser, taken the kids. His job could have said, oh no, you can't, you're under investigation for a crime. You definitely did it. So you're going to lose your job, like Johnny Depp did, you know, how Disney said, we're not going to work with you. And I know Johnny Depp is not one that, you know, people can relate to. He had a lot of money. He could stand to lose it. Average men, which is most men, they don't have that. And when they lose it, they lose it. And it isn't just, I don't want to say just money. It's so much more than that. These are sacrifices they've made, work they've put in, a future that they can have, like for security that they work to do. And then a woman can just say whatever, and then it's gospel. Why? It doesn't make any sense. Why believe all women? If you think, for the people who think that men and women are the same and have equal abilities and both can, you know, fight in the army and both can, you know, lift the same amount of weight or whatever, then how come you have to believe all women? Then how come only men get drafted? Then how come custody automatically, you know, in so many states and in many cases, especially older judges, custody automatically goes to the woman. Why? If we're the same, then why? I personally don't think anyone should be drafted because I don't think that the government has the say of like, you're going to go sacrifice yourself in something we think is important, which is usually just, we need to blow up some planes and tanks and bombs because we need to make more and sell them. Or we think this group over here is a threat to our power, so we need all of you guys to go, and we're going to say, oh, it's, America's safety, whatever. No, you shouldn't be able to force anyone to go fight in anything. No one's going to go, you guys should be able to say, you're not going to make me a murderer and you're not going to sacrifice me. What are they going to do? Send everybody to the brick? What are they going to do? People say, well, I was drafted. I didn't have a choice. You can say no and you can go to the brick. You can choose jail. That's not okay that they can just do that, and they can only do it to men. Feminism is such a lie. And it always has been. I know people are like, well, third wave, and it's all a tsunami of lies, and it's all, the goal of it has been getting angry. All the words want to come out at once. The goal has always been to destroy the patriarchy. Well, who's at the top of the patriarchy? That'd be God. And then the patriarchy is built from the man being the head of the family. Women don't want that. But you know what they also didn't want? Responsibility, accountability, any of that. So if we're all so equal, then how come we have to believe all women? Because we're supposed to believe that men are generally tyrants, that men are generally evil, that men are generally, they're mostly predators. There's a line in a movie. It's an obscure movie. The movie's called Shirley Valentine, a British movie, kind of like a comedy. But man, I think back to that movie and I'm like, that woman in the movie is kind of how, these women are now that are like divorcing husbands and when they're 35, whatever years old, because she was 37. Oh no, she was 42. You're only 42. And anyway, one of her friends in the movie said, all men are potential rapists. And it's supposed to be funny. First of all, if that were serious, it's not funny. So the fact that women can laugh at that and it's funny, it proves it's not true. It's not true. Look, you can like Andrew Wilson or not like Andrew Wilson. Just because I say something that I liked about a person does not mean that I adopted everything that person thinks and everything that person's ever said. But what I like about Andrew Wilson is he talks about you don't really have rights unless force is behind it. Because for anything to happen in society that is a rule, there's some kind of force and pressure behind it. And women don't have that capability. There's never been a situation where women took up arms and took over. There's never been that. If men wanted to, right now, if men in this country wanted to, they wanted to say, I don't want this to happen, but this is just like a thought experiment. If men wanted to, they could say, you know what? We're just gonna choose our wives and the women don't get a say. The men are gonna say. The fathers and the men amongst themselves, we're gonna negotiate that. If we choose this woman, she's gonna be our wife. She doesn't have a choice. They could do that. If most of them wanted to do that, they could do that. What am I gonna do? Right? If I were 25 years old and a man was like, you're going to be my wife because that's what we've all decided happens. What am I going to do? Even if I didn't have MS, what am I going to do? How am I going to fight back? I can't. My point is the fact that that doesn't happen, the fact that women can actually just walk all over men and say a thing and proves that men are not tyrannical. They're not looking to victimize women. Most of them want to prevent other men from doing that. How do I know? Because that's what the reality is in this society. If men wanted to be, if men by and large were tyrannical predators and that's all they wanted to do, they'd do it. There's not a darn thing women could do to stop it. What are we going to do? So it's literally, you don't have to read a study. You don't have to, study anthropology. You can use your eyeballs and go, oh, well, they're not doing that. And they could if they wanted to, but they're not. But we can see what women are doing. We can see who is tyrannical and who's a predator. In this story we just watched, who was the predator? What if, okay, so they proved that that man's truck was nowhere in that area. Like, I don't even know why she chose him. How did she even, I have no idea. But that's terrifying, right? God, you guys must be like, I don't want to leave my house. And as much as I don't like, that we're tracked all the time and everything, in this scenario, it worked for him. But how terrifying. But what if his truck had been in the area? What if he had stopped at that store or something and he was like checking something on his truck and she walked up to him and harassed him? What if she assaulted him? What if she walked up to him and, I don't know, threw something out of whatever a woman's going to do? She's not going to be able to hurt him, but you know what I mean? And then what if it was a he said, she said, but his truck was in the area? We all know how different that story would be. So when people are out there like the Daily Wire guys, and they're like, oh, it's fine, you guys need to man up. I'm like, you know what? It gets so mad because I think about these situations and I'm like, you know what? Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, I agree with some of the things they say. That's true. I overall think Daily Wire is kind of, controlled opposition. Doesn't mean they don't say some things that are true. But as far as the whole man up and what's your problem, and I realize they mostly say that in the context of marriage, but the problem is this can happen in marriage too. Who's going to say what happened? And it's just, they are living in delusion if they don't recognize this. And the problem is too, like, their wives haven't done anything yet as far as accusing or what have you, or divorce rape. But what happens when, a secretary says something, or some woman with some kind of like, ambition and predatorial tactics accuses them of something. We've seen that a lot with powerful men. And I hope it doesn't happen. Even though I know they're wrong with a lot of what they say, and I hate that they say it to men who have been absolutely drugged through the dirt and worse. Candace Owens reacted to the man who was in a disagreement with his, I think they were married, his second wife, and she called the cops on him. He was the principal for an elementary school. She called the cops on him, accused him of hitting her, blah, blah, blah. They, of course, believed her. He lost his job. He was a well-loved principal of an elementary school. Everybody loved him. They believed him. He lost his job. He lost so much. I apologize. They're mowing right now. I have no control over it. And I have to do the videos when I feel well enough and energetic enough to do them. So that's just part of what you get here at Far From Eden. We are not professional. We are not real YouTubers. We are just talking about things that matter. This is just how it's going to be. Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I was thinking about how I'm not a real YouTuber and it's really important that we just get this message out. But I think I was rambling and ranting. Oh, the poor man. And so they believed him, or they believed the lady, the woman who accused him, and he lost his job and everything. And he went to the top of a parking garage at Disneyland and, you know, tried to fly and unalived himself. Anyway, Candace Owens reacted to that. And she said, you know, the woman shouldn't have done it and everything. But I was like, look, the video I have about it is the same as if she'd pushed him. You know, it's the same. She's responsible. She should have to, you know, face something for that. But I don't think she ever did. In fact, she played the victim. Poor me. Oh gosh, he did this. Oh no. Like, lady, you did it. And so that's what can happen. And thankfully, it doesn't seem like that happened to this man. But I know there's a lot of things. Goodness gracious. What is he just going in front of my apartment back and forth? It's okay. He doesn't know we're making a video. And I'm grateful that that we have lawn mowing people around here. I definitely couldn't do it. Anyway, Candace Owens at least said something about it and how bad it was. I wish she'd gone farther. But the rest of them just don't even acknowledge what's going on with men in this country. And they just point to people like Andrew Tate, which is crazy, thinking that Jordan Peterson is on the Daily Wire. Like, hello. But I know, like, once that happened, a lot of us were like, I don't think I'm as big of a fan anymore. And I'm still disappointed in that, because I was like, oh, I wanted you to be real. But then his daughter kind of is also like, I just think he didn't know everything he knows now when he was raising her. And I think he probably simped for her a little bit because she was so sick. That's my theory about the whole Michaela Peterson thing. But yeah, this has got to stop. And I mean, we might get to a point where the men get so mad they go, we're not having this anymore. Women should be grateful that the choice that men are making is that they're walking away, because they don't like these games women are playing. They don't like all of these things women are doing. And so what do these horrible, mean, tyrannical, evil men do? Walk away? Walking away is not in the character of what women claim men are, is it? It's quite passive. It's quite nonviolent. It's like going on strike. Like, I'm not going to play anymore until you stop cheating. You know, like, this game is rigged against men. So until it changes, we're done. They should be great. Women should be grateful that's the response, because men could say, nope, we're shutting it down. Not only do you women not have, you know, the right to vote, they could say that, but we don't think you should drive. We don't think you should this. We don't think you should that. And if enough men decided that, that is how it would be. So all these women are like, we're all the good men. That's exactly what they're doing. They're good. They're good. So that with your shenanigans, they're like, no, thank you. If they were who you claim they are, their reaction wouldn't be to walk away. Their reaction would be retaliation, even justice. But they're not seeking that, are they? No. And that actually works in the women's favor, because that woman we just saw, that sociopathic chick who just accused this dude, said he looked creepy, he wasn't even where she said he was. It was an injury she got from her grandmother with dementia, and it wasn't him. Good gracious. Good gracious. So, the other thing is, the men who are American, who believe in what America was, and I think we all know what I'm talking about, are the type that say, all right, y'all are cheating, y'all are doing this, we're going to walk away. We have an influx of people who are from different cultures. They're not going to see it that way, because that's not the way it is in the countries where they come from. And I don't think women are going to like that so much after they've disenfranchised the men, who are by and large very good people. And then there's a vacuum. Who's going to fill that vacuum? It's not going to be strong, independent women taking over, taking control. Women are going to be begging men to come back. They're going to be begging for the good men for a different reason than dating. They're at some point in the future. I don't know when, and I don't know why. I don't know if it'll be war. I don't know if it'll be a huge cultural shift. I don't know if it'll be the dollar collapsing or the grid going down, but there will be a point in the future where women will realize, oh my God, strong and independent are just words. Stunning and brave are also just words. I'm not a princess. This is not a fairy tale. And they're going to have to realize that, because stuff is going to get real at some point coming up. We all see it leading to that. We all see it. We don't know exactly, which one is going to happen first, or if a couple of those things that I mentioned are going to happen at the same time. But it's coming. And reality is going to hit. And that reality is that women are not as strong as men. We don't have the same talents. We don't have the same abilities. And this playing pretend that we're, all capable in all these ways that men are, and that men are, we don't need them and they're bad anyway. We'll be begging you guys to come back, and not because we need a date, because survival. For thousands, millennia, centuries. And in other species, I won't say all, because somebody will be like, well, actually, this rare frog, in other mammals especially, the female depends on the male. We are made weaker. We are made differently. It doesn't mean it's bad. Feminists want to, insult all the things that make women good, and trick women into not doing those things. But a time is coming fairly soon when playing pretend about all these things will not be possible anymore. And this whole false accusations thing, believe all women, that's playing pretend. That is not reality. Men are not like that. Are there bad people? Yeah, there are. They're at the other end of the bell curve. But society would have us believe that men are overall predators and evil and all the rest of it. And it's just the way things are. It's proof that you're not. So, and like we said yesterday in that Amy Horton article, she hates men, but she loves her family that are men. It's like, lady, you don't understand. You can't do both. You can't have it both ways. So anyway, thank you, Marky Mark, for that suggestion. That was very important, a very important video and interesting, a place that I'm quite familiar with geographically. So, although that lady was not the type of person I remember from there. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys, and please send me, suggestions and things you'd like to see, things you want me to talk about. It's always welcome. And I will always, try to oblige, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you guys. So keep them coming. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I hope that you are feeding your soul today. I hope that you're finding peace. And just know that you are appreciated, you are needed, and you didn't deserve the crap that you probably took. How do I know that? Because you're a man in this society. So you've probably taken more than your fair share of injustice. And I absolutely hate it. And that's why I'm here. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.